Well, here we go. Absolutely beautiful. But it's not great for driving or riding motorbikes, though the dog loves it. So what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about my decision to take early retirement at the age of 56, how I did it and how I worked out the finances and a few other bits and pieces. So stay tuned. If it's snowing with you when you're watching this, because I'll hopefully get this out over the next couple of days, then wrap up warm, have a cup of tea and join me for the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes to talk you through how I did it. So, as I said, today I want to share that story about my retirement. It's quite personal to me, but it's one that I've had a number of questions about, and so I'm quite happy to share it. My journey out of teaching into early retirement, why it's one of the best choices I've ever made, and how it could work for you. If you ever wondered about the real cost of early retirement, I think you'll find this quite interesting. I certainly did. Remember, this is just about my experience. I'm not giving financial advice, and you should contact your union and attend a retirement information seminar before any big decisions are made. So, I was born in 1967. I went straight into teaching in 1991 and spent just over three decades in teaching, shaping young people's minds. As deputy head in London, moved up to Stockport, deputy head there, and then became acting head teacher. Some incredible experiences. Taking on the role in April 2023 of acting head teacher was really exhilarating and exhausting. And I made a decision after that I didn't want to continue. It's all encompassing. My mind was constantly focused on work. 7 days a week, my thoughts were tied up in school matters. And even though I was passionate about it, and still am, it was tiring. The passion's still very much alive today. Yet, when it came to making a decision about my future, I knew it was time to look at things differently. So in June the 2nd, 2024, I had already made the decision to retire early. I was 56 and a half and I started early retirement. Now, some might say that retiring early means sacrificing a significant chunk of your pension, and that is true on paper. But during this video, I'll take a closer look at what that really means. So, I'm just going to cut now to a breakdown of my pension and the spreadsheet that I used. So, here we are looking at the spreadsheet. It's quite a simple spreadsheet. I did one similar and I just reused it when my wife retired a few years ago. About 5 years ago she made the decision, and again, best decision she made. Same for me. What I'm doing is, it's a model just to look at what the difference would be between what I have decided to do, retiring in June 2024, and what it will have looked like if I'd retired in August 2028 when I'm 60. Now, there's a few assumptions I've made. One is that the pension I get now never changes, and the pension I would get when I was 60 never changes. Because if they do change, well, they're going to change, aren't they? Annual increase, etc. But that's all proportional. It's the comparative figures that we want to concentrate on. So when you retire early, your MPA, or my MPA, was 60 years old, because I started teaching in 1991. I'd done 32 and a half years of teaching, and I could retire and take my pension at the age of 60. If you decide to retire early, then it is your pension, that is actuarially reduced by a percentage each year. And I worked out that my pension would be reduced by 17%. So I'd take a 17% hit. That's 17%, nearly a fifth. And you're going to lose that every single year. And then I thought, oh, better carry on working until I'm 60. But really, when you look at it in the spreadsheet, there's a few questions you've got to answer. One is, what is that pension actually going to look like? And then when you know what it looks like, can I live on that comfortably? And when I looked at it, I realised, yes, I could. And so from that point on, it was an absolute no-brainer. So let's have a look at this spreadsheet a little bit more closely. I know it's been on the screen while I've been whittering on, but you can see it's 17% reduced. If I worked until I was 60, I'd worked out that my pension would be £42,000, and I worked out that if I retired early, that I would be getting about £35,000 per annum. I'm quite happy to share these figures because the reality of it is, if you know how long a teacher's been working for and you know what their position was when they retired, you've got a pretty good idea about what their pension is. So it's all transparent. If you look at, well, B14 or row 10 on this spreadsheet, you can see that every year I lose £7,000 after tax. Take 20% off it anyway. That's £5,600, £466 a month, £107 a week. And actually those figures were a little bit scary, and I thought, I can't afford to lose that amount of money. And then I thought, maybe I'm not going to. So let's have a look at it. So, retire in June 2024, and I've actually put £40,000 in that column. Why is that? Well, if you look here at the formula bar, I've got my pension, but I've also got I6. So if you look at I6, you can see I'm not going to sit around doing nothing. I can take the dog for a walk a certain number of times, but it's not a full-time job. I'm going to have a second job. I never really want to be in a position where I'm not working to some extent. So anyway, this year it's going to be about £5,000, and if I work a full year, you can see in the row below, following years it's going to be about £10,000, and I've just set it at that so that it doesn't change. Going back over here to the spreadsheet, you can see, therefore, that's where the £40,000 for year one comes in. To look at year two. So in year two, I've had the £40,000 from year one. I've had the £35,000 from my pension, and I've had another £10,000 here from my second job. Year three, year four, year five, it carries on going. So this column is just showing you a cumulative pot of how much money I've taken from the pension. Obviously, year one, if I didn't retire, I wouldn't be taking anything. So that's 0. Year two, 0. When I'm 58, 0. When I'm 59, 0. When I'm 60, 0, because I wouldn't be retiring until the end of the academic year like I did. So, year one of retirement, £42,000. Year two, I've said £42,000 pension plus the £42,000 from year one, plus here I12. When I look at I12, you can see that I'm suggesting that I would have had a second job remaining in education because I wouldn't have been able to train for anything else really, and go into schools and support there. £25,000 a year, just based on what other people have done and sort of possibilities that are there for ex-head teachers. The reality, I think, is that I'd be too tired to do anything like that. Okay, let's just get rid of that. And but I've put it in just to show that I've got a big pot. I'll be able to earn more money than I'm earning now from a lower paid role, but a more enjoyable one, instructing new motorbike riders, CBTs and Mod 1s and Mod 2s, etc. And but I put it in there. As you can see, it mounts up, and in a long-winded way, what I'm saying is that the green shows that if I take my pension early and I don't take my pension early, it's not until I'm 87 years old that the difference becomes apparent. This is just a bit of old workings out, and here, let's have a look. So I'm 88 years old when I start getting more out of my pension pot than I would have done as I've retired early. And then it goes up by £7,000 each year because that's the difference in the pension. And you can see if I live to be 107, I've lost £134,000. Going back to this, ground zero, day one. That's the question. Can I live on the money that I've got? And the answer is yes. I've got a lump sum. You pay your mortgage off or invest it and do what you need to do. You downsize on your house if you want to, or we'll do that in a few years' time. I'm quite comfortable. And so I've got effectively the next 4 years of enjoying myself in my second job and a lot of spare time and doing things that I just want to do and wasn't able to do previously. So for me, financial argument, it's a no-brainer. As soon as you can work it out, you don't have to be 60, 55. I wish I'd done it when I was 55, really. Leaving it till I was 56 and a half. If I'd gone at 55, I'd have had another sort of 4.5% off each year, but I would have still, I think, been in a happy, content position. But I'm happy now, and I've made the right decision. And going forward, this second job bit is an interesting one because at the moment it's as a motorbike instructor, thoroughly enjoy that. And then I'm also an examiner for IAM, doing sort of tests for people doing their advanced test on motorbikes. That doesn't really pay, but it's expenses. This training people does. But what's important that none of these figures here take into account this red box here. There's no account taken of reclaiming tax, which I'm going to be doing as a sole trader. I have always been, as most of you will have been, PAYE. Now, I put PAYE there and make it quite large because it is something that has actually made me quite angry. And so there you have it, the spreadsheet. What I think is that whilst when you get to a certain point, yes, you're going to be losing out on money, time is more valuable than that. And especially a good quality of life and quality time. all you got to do is make sure that you can live happily and comfortably on the salary that the pension brings you. Because I don't think retiring, it's not about being financially reckless for me. It's about choosing a life where you don't have to sacrifice your well-being for the sake of a few more pounds in the pension pot. I think it's about valuing the time you have now. Time for me, spent with my wife, my family, time to explore the simple things, time to enjoy life without the constant pull of professional pressures. And for me, it was also about a change of direction and to enable me to focus on my passion for riding motorbikes. There's that smile again. And that's exactly what early retirement has given me. So, yes, my pension might be less, 17% less than if I'd stayed on until 60, but the trade off has been more than worth it. The quality of life I have now, the freedom to enjoy every day without that sort of constant feeling of being stretched too thinly, that, my friends, is priceless. And I've retrained, I'm fully qualified as a motorbike instructor, and I work flexible hours when I want to, and I operate as a sole trader. And I'll come back to that bit now when I was talking on the spreadsheet about the pay as you earn. Before I get to that, my income now is currently comparable with my teaching salary. And that's because I've got my pension. I've added my second salary. But what is really important is when you're earning a full teacher's salary, and I was deputy head and then acting head teacher, but retired as deputy head, you lose, I don't know exactly what percentage, but I was paying 40% tax on everything over a certain amount, increased national insurance contributions, the pension contributions that were going out, and when I've actually started getting my pension and my, albeit very low, salary for motorcycle instructing in comparison to what I was on before, I'm actually about the same in terms of my sort of financial stability. And, well, I seem to have more in the bank at the end of the month than I did before. And I'm quite happy with that. So, the next thing to talk about is having that second job. And it's not a job that is pay as you earn. I have to act as a sole trader, and I'm not employed as such by the motorcycle training school that I work for. But actually, being a sole trader has opened up so much knowledge about tax and what you can deduct that next year I think I'll be getting a lot of tax back for this year. More to do with that when I come to submit my tax returns. And so I'll submit a tax return in 2025, and by May 2025 I should have a full understanding of the tax implications. So I'll post another video then, so subscribe and you'll be on the mailing list for that, even if you're not interested in motorbikes. I think if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, I'll be able to notify you of when I do that video. And you might also want to go to my website, highpeakbiker.com, and subscribe there, and you'll get a notification when I blog about it. It's just an amazing flexibility that there's so much you can do in the tax system. And as a 32-year pay-as-you-earn customer, I actually feel quite royally ripped off because there is no way in God's earth that I could have done my job, living where I am, working in Stockport, or when I was in London, working in different parts of London, without having a car. It was a tool in order to get to work. And yeah, I couldn't claim anything for it. But with working, I don't know, it's different because I'm actually working as a motorcycle instructor, so I can claim back the cost of the motorbike against tax. That's a significant amount of money. And my expenses, my petrol, my sort of cameras for the YouTube side of the sole trader business, my protective clothing, my helmet, all of these things I can claim. And I realised when I looked into it that as a business, there are certain costs that you can offset against tax. And you'll have businesses, somebody who owns a shop, for instance, and they will be able to offset the car that they have against tax. It's all very new to me, but something that I'm investigating or have investigated. And I have an accountant who is Stony Philbin in Chapel on the Frith, and absolutely fantastic, talking me through what all of the different requirements are to be a sole trader. And I'll do a video about that, but not until May next year, when I've got all the pieces of the puzzle together. So watch this space. Finally, early retirement, financial balance, where I am now, looking at the spreadsheets, reflecting on everything. I wish I'd done it as soon as I was 55. And but anyway, 18 months later, I've done it. So I'm a happy chappy, and I hope you've enjoyed this and I haven't rambled on too much. Okay, bye. Remember, subscribe to the High Peak Biker.